Good evening and welcome again to Match of the Day for two matches from Division 1. And it's said that football is a never-ending race and no club has a guaranteed place in the sun for all time. So teams like Arsenal and Manchester City, whose game we see later, and Leeds and West Bromwich Albion, who start the programme, are constantly haunted by the ghosts of the past, whose achievements tend to make today's supporters dissatisfied and put those who run those clubs under pressure.
And tonight's headlines concern the manager of one of those four famous teams, Manchester City's John Bond, who hotly denies making defamatory remarks about today's opponents Arsenal only 48 hours after being warned by the FA to curb his comments about other clubs.
Well, let's go straight to Elland Road, where Alan Clark's changing Leeds United team enjoy an unbeaten home record so far this season. Today's challenge came from West Bromwich Albion, also going through a period of change thrust upon them by the bitter side of today's transfer system. Your commentator, Barry Davis.
The experienced new boy Kenny Burns becomes the 20th player to be used by Leeds United this season, and the manager Alan Clark immediately gives him the captaincy. The side that he leads have certainly had their problems with injuries, but their performance being adversely compared with last season and indeed with the season just after the war when they were relegated. But although they've had their difficulties away from home, they are unbeaten here at Elland Road. Peter Barnes has a special reason for playing well this afternoon, playing against his old side, West Bromwich Albion. And that side this afternoon relying on experience, with manager Ronnie Allen recalling both David Mills and Alistair Brown to the lineup. As yet, they haven't won away from home, their best performance being a scoreless draw at Nottingham Forest. Alan Clark looking for a change in fortunes this afternoon. The referee is Neil Midgley of Salford, and Leeds in all white attacking the goal to our right. Here's Brendan Batson for West Bromwich Albion, player who this week asked for a transfer and has been put on the list. Regis. Mills. Alistair Brown. And Mackenzie continuing the run. First test for John Lukic. Needed a bit of fortune. Leeds starting this match with 1 point less than after 10 matches last season, when of course there were only 2 points given for a win. On by Connor. Bit of a miscue by Statham. Barnes. And nobody there for the finishing touch. Been a difficult start to his career at Leeds United for Peter Barnes, with the side conceding goals, particularly away from home. Nicely taken on the chest by Graham. A lot of space inside. Connor. I would have thought Kevin Hurd might well have been offside anyway. Mills. It's a good intention. It could still run ball, and it was intended for Statham originally, and that's Owen's shot. And struck it well, and the goalkeeper took it with hands out in front of him rather than letting it run into his chest. Cherry. Frank Gray. Hurd. Number 11 is Barnes. Everything left of him. Whichever side he goes, he always has 2 to beat. Lost out the King. And Burns beating Regis. Plenty of players forward for Albion. All the midfield players with a penchant for going forward. Mackenzie, Mills, Regis, took it well. And Mills has put it wide. Well, Albion really a little unlucky. And it was more difficult for Mills than it might have looked. Fine play by Regis at the start, using the inside of both feet. Tried to curl it past Lukic, who got the block, and as the ball came out to Mills, he couldn't control it inside the far post. Minutes gone, no score, but one has the impression that if a goal did come, we could have a very interesting encounter here. Both sides very happy to go forward. Could find the finish to match some of the build-ups. The entertainment could be quite marked. Here's Gray. Hampson. Connor. Oh, he had far more time. Far more time than he took. It looked spectacular, but he could have done an awful lot more with that. Of course, always easier to say when you're sitting in the back of the stand. Burns already doing the job that Clark has brought him for. Not only his ability, but his driving of colleagues. King. Statham. And Regis flattened off the ball by Burns, and the free kick has been given, and Regis has the number. Owen. Hurd. And Andy King left an imprint then on Hurd. Regis, good use of the sole of the boot, and not a bad strike by Davy Mills, but wide. I think we're going to have a good contest between Cyril Regis, who's shown a lot of skill already, and the new Leeds skipper Kenny Burns. Owen. Picked up by Statham. Lovely balanced run. And Statham still. Regis behind him. And Mills now behind him. Looking for Alistair Brown, and the goalkeeper did well because he followed the flight and made sure that his body was in the way of the one place that Alistair Brown could head it, which was down inside the far post. So, Albion as the away side have really strung quite a lot together. We've got players forward, Statham in particular, all the midfield players. That's easy for Lukic. Cherry. In the end, it fell very nicely for Statham. Burns. Hart. Played it nicely with two coming to him. So did Hampson. Now Connor. Barnes coming into the 6-yard box. Put out by John Weil. Kenny Burns and Paul Hart both coming forward. There's Hart. Burns has taken a place on the 6-yard line. Connor the nearest in. Free kick, no, a push and a penalty. Push and a penalty, the push on Connor. And the referee immediately giving the penalty, and Y is clear from his action. There was a push on Connor. And the whistle went immediately. A chance for Leeds to score their 6th goal of the season at Ellen Road. It falls to Kevin Hurd from the penalty spot. Godden. Oh, I say that was a good save. It was a bit close to him, to be truthful, but he got down very well, and the ball refused to go under his left arm. And Hurd denied, and the chance wasted. So with exactly half an hour gone, no score, in spite of a really fine effort there by Peter Barnes. That was a shot in anger. But all credit to Tony Godden. Whether he moved or not, I wouldn't like to say, but certainly he got down quickly. The ball was a bit close to him, but he refused to let it squeeze under the left arm. And when things are not going for you, they don't go for you. Must be what Alan Clark is reflecting at the moment. Gilt-edged chance and wasted. Here's Gary Owen. Jerry saw that one early. Graham, Connor in the middle. Cavalry arriving behind. Oh! And the shot or back pass, in fact, came off the defender. It was John Weil. Not quite sure which version he would give, whether it was a back pass or whether it was inadvertent. Is there still time for Leeds in this first half? Hampson. And no mean try. Not the easiest of angles after the run by Peter Barnes. Certainly the ball was well struck. Half-time, scoreless, and in the main, thanks to Tony Godden, who really made a fine penalty save, denying Kevin Hurd and Leeds United. And, whether they move or not, all goalkeepers deserve credit when they save from 11 metres. Confirmation from the referee during the half-time interval that Tony Godden was both the villain and the hero of the penalty incident. It was he who pushed Terry Connor before subsequently making the save from Kevin Hurd. And Leeds have made a substitution at the start of the second half. Brian Greenhoff coming on in place of the injured Carl Harris. At half-time, will the second half see either side finish? Well, there have been a number of attacking ideas in the first period. There's Paul Hart. It's Graham. Did well to get there first. And he's worked the opening. Oh, I say, what a good goal. What a really very, very good goal. And so what we failed to get in 45 minutes of the first half, we, or more in particular, Leeds have achieved within 30 seconds of the restart. And really a very, very good goal. He got to the ball first on the near post as we looked, and turned so well, worked his opening, and then beat the goalkeeper between the goalkeeper's right hand and the post. Certainly brought the crowd to life. Well watched by Statham, but Leeds keep possession. Hurd. But the roar is not one of approval, but of disappointment. Certainly hit it swiftly enough, but going up all the time. Greenhoff playing in midfield with Arthur Graham pushed further forward in this half. It's a good advantage so far. Robertson. Now Regis. Lukic backtracking, and rightly. Alistair Brown! Oh dear, oh dear. He will be acutely disappointed about that, because that really was no sort of header, and he had quite a lot to aim at. That's Goddens. Alistair Brown. Regis not sure whether he should go or not. Good save by Lukic. He was quickly off his line, and Regis then was a considerable threat. Burns. After oh dear. Scott would have enjoyed that. Leeds not quite as strongly and happily in front as they were in the period immediately following the goal. Appeal for handball, no, says the referee. Yes, say a number of the crowd, but one man's verdict will beat the thousands. Mills. King making the forward run. Useful ball by Mills. And Lukic again, committed and going in with his feet to good purpose, although King thought that he may have tripped him. Certainly going to make the point to the linesman. But John Lukic a little fortunate then, because he committed himself and he got his body too far forward and rescued himself with his feet. Mackenzie looked for somebody coming right. Here's Batson. Looks too long. Oh! Oh, no foul. Lukic escapes again. The referee did not give a free kick. Whether that was because in the end the goalkeeper got possession or not, I don't know. But Lukic thought he was fouled by Brown. On by Connor to Graham. To Hurd. Connor in the middle. It's played early. Cover by John Weil. Paul Hart going forward there, number 5, and Burns, number 6. Connor comes away from the middle. Hart gets the header. Cherry! And Cherry just managing to get it over Derek Statham with a good looping header. And Leeds, whose lead was being considerably threatened, now have real breathing space with a second goal from the corner. Connor came away, knocked on by Hart, up by Cherry over the head of Statham on the left post as we looked. "71 minutes gone, Leeds United 2, West Bromwich Albion 0. Leeds have only won one previous match this season. That was against Wolves here when they scored 3. Mills, offside. And the complexion of the match now totally different for Albion. They must have felt confident at pulling it back. And now there is a longer distance race to run. Well, Alan Clark changed his skipper. The skipper has done the job that he wanted, and his former skipper has scored the second goal. Cherry. King. Mackenzie, King, Mackenzie, Batson. Leeds ball. Brian Greenough. Three players on the edge of the box. Out by Batson. He himself might be out fairly shortly, having been granted his transfer request. Offside. Owen. Mills. Stumble allowed a couple more defenders to come back, and Mills now has a shooting chance. And in times it'll be a bit disappointing. Stuttering start, but having started the motor, made the gap well and really wasn't too far away. Connor. Oh, yes. Goalkeeper never moved. Well, how about that, or words to that effect? Well, they applaud Alan Clark smiles. He doesn't do that too often, at least not around football matches. And really that goal all about a quite superb strike of the ball by Connor. "77 minutes and Leeds have equalled their best performance of the season. They now have two players who've scored their first goals of the season. Foul by Batson. Here's Gray. On by Alistair Brown. King. Not too much movement forward. Here's Robertson. King. Here's Mackenzie. Graham. Greenough. Graham forward. And he timed it so well for Connor, or has he? What he would have done, but for a very, very good pickup by Tony Godden. Held the ball nicely then, did Brian Greenough, and found Connor. Or at least almost found Connor, let's get it right. Here's Regis. Owen. King. And for a change, Mills gets it and scores it. But he's been calling for a ball in that position so often. And might be saying, well, if you'd have given me the ball there more often, there might have been more to show. But he certainly stuck that away, although John Lukic, the goalkeeper, won't be too happy with his part in it. So 79 minutes, the fourth goal of the match. 3-1 to Leeds United. And those Albion supporters, whom we just saw applauding the goal, might be interested in knowing that next week their manager Ronnie Allen is intending to sign Dutch international Martin Jol from FC Twente. Indeed, Martin Jol is watching the match from the stands. There's a disappointed manager, Ronnie Allen, and Bert Minichip, the new chairman of the FA and still chairman of Albion. And they must be feeling that the second and third goals really came at a time when they were threatening Leeds. Crowd anxious for the final whistle. Brown. Mills. Cherry and Regis. And Owen offside. Even so, Lukic did well. Mr. Midgley's had a check of his watch. It's what he's noted for injuries and stoppages. King. Nicely pushed up to Brown. Clearly taken on the chest in spite of the appeals. And Burns clears the Leeds lines once more. A winning start for the new skipper Kenny Burns, a change of fortune for the manager Alan Clark after a disappointing opening to the season. 3 second-half goals by Leeds United and Burns leading from the back. 2 individual goals and 1 by Trevor Cherry coming from a set piece, and the late reply by Mills in the 79th minute for Albion. The final score, Leeds United 3, West Bromwich Albion 1.
So Leeds retain their unbeaten home record and at the same time haul themselves off the bottom of the league. And I think I almost detected a smile on Alan Clark's face after that superb third goal scored by Terry Connor. But in talking to Barry Davies, Alan underlined his determined and intensely serious approach to bringing success to Leeds once more.
I'm probably an impatient fella. But the thing I preach in management is that no one has a divine right to be successful overnight. It's a long job that we've taken on here, but you can see by the 3 signings that we have made since we came to the club, the quality. Plus, you know, you put a bit of quality with the lads who I inherited. As I say, I don't think the team is as balanced as I would like it at the moment, but as I say, you can't do things overnight. It takes time.
Well, we caught you smiling today, Alan, and that makes a change.
Well, as I say, I've not had too many happy Saturdays since the start of the season, Barry, but I'll enjoy this one tonight.
Alan, thanks very much.
So a fraction less pressure on Alan Clark and a little more on Ronnie Allen, whose team started brightly enough and had their share of the chances, and might even have had a penalty for a push on Andy King. But their inventiveness wasn't enough to break down the resolution of Kenny Burns and co. And I don't suppose any club has been under more pressure this week than Arsenal, whose shareholders gave the directors and the manager a miserable time. The only way in the end to answer such criticism is on the field of play. And their first opportunity came this afternoon with a visit of Manchester City, who themselves had experienced a moment or two's domestic tribulation. But at the end of the day, it's the players who have the final say, except, of course, for commentator Alan Parry.
It's been a critical week in the history of this famous club. A confrontation between manager Terry Neal and Arsenal shareholders demonstrated how angry supporters have become at poor results, a chronic lack of goals, and the failure to replace stars like Brady and Stapleton. Well, Neal's reaction has been swift. He's picked this very positive-looking lineup with plenty of attacking players, and there's a new face alongside Alan Sunderland and Brian McDermott in attack. Raphael Mead, just 18 years old, makes his league debut, having had just 19 minutes of first-team football when he scored a goal with his first kick as substitute against Panathinaikos in Athens. There's a new face too in defence, 20 years old Chris White, and by a remarkable coincidence White's only first-team experience was also a substitute against Panathinaikos, though he played in the home leg. Manchester City, who have recently suffered heavy defeats at both Birmingham and Brighton, field an unchanged team, and they feel that their new-look back four, with Tommy Caton at left-back, is their best defensive formation. The referee, Alan Robinson of Portsmouth. So it's Manchester City who kick off their attacking from right to left. Arsenal, best identified by their white sleeves, after 3 successive defeats, and with mounting criticism from their fans, really do face an important match here today, one they must win. There's touch for Chris White, making his league debut in Willie Young's number 6 jersey. Typically deep kick that from Jennings over Hartford's head, off Sunderland, and here's Power. Nice layoff by Reeves. Power again, the City captain. Reeves trying to turn O'Leary, that's difficult. Reeves again, prominent. Good-looking cross to away by Sansom. The shot too from Hutchison, and the deflection took it behind. Fine early effort coming in, that the cross from the left by Reeves setting up the danger. Sansom's header seemed to have cleared the problem for Arsenal, but Hutchison's shot wasn't far off target. Sansom. Header away by Bond. Good long throw for Sunderland. Reed covering. There's Ricks. Ball to nearly picked out McDermott on the far post. Caton spotted the danger. And cross by Ricks, and he trots over to take the corner, resulting from Caton's header. O'Leary almost on the goal line, and the new defender White is in the penalty area too for this corner. Over everyone's head to Sansom. McDermott turning, and the shot coming in from White, producing a good save by Corrigan. Well, the new player Chris White will be happy with that effort. Turned back, Sansom did a good job then, made the space, and the shot hit first time. Well saved by Corrigan. Good header that by Power. White. Talbot winning it. And again. Ooh, Ransom straight to Ricks. Bond again across to cover. Kevin Bond was outstanding in the derby match against Manchester United last week, and settling well into this side. Bond. O'Leary climbing well. Chewett though. And again from Reeves. This is Chewett. Pat Jennings makes those look so easy, and it's all down to good positioning and good reflexes as well. Chewett got quite some sting behind that shot, and Jennings dealt with it almost contemptibly. Sansom. Ricks and Sansom again. Over Meade's head. Asa Hartford. Chewett. Power, and a good run made by Reeves, but the ball again picking up pace. Here's O'Leary for Arsenal. Sunderland. Here's Ricks. And McDermott getting only really his second touch. Overlapping for him. Well, that's a good-looking cross, and Meade! Well, a fine cross from the right. Meade climbing well, and that bullet header looked to be heading for the City net. A fine save by Corrigan. Raphael Meade will settle down a lot quicker now. That was a very good effort. Ricks' corner. Oh, over 3-4 players' heads, and finally comes through to Talbot. Away by Bond, straight to White. Well, cheers from the other end. I think they thought that had gone in. So, in the space of 30 seconds, these two black players making their league debuts for Arsenal very prominent. Moments ago, it was Mead with a fine header, well saved by Corrigan, and then from the resulting corner, White going close. There's Reid. Talbot away. Caton finding Reeves in the box. And Talbot's challenge ends a corner for Manchester City. Nice to see two players smiling after a wholehearted challenge like that. Hutchison's corner. Came on Talbot's head and breaks for Hartford through the crowd of players, and Jennings making either a very lucky or a remarkably good save. Hartford with a shot through that crowd of players. It struck Jennings, or was it beautiful reflexes by the Arsenal keeper? You take your pick. Stewart, Hutchison, and now Ranson. Ranson against Sansom. That's not easy to say. Hartford. Powers lay off as Talbot came in. Caton. Well, the City players, and O'Neill in particular, claiming then that White was climbing on the back of Dennis Stewart, and in fact referee Alan Robinson has given the free kick. Good view of the situation as City look at it, and an interesting position again this, with just 10 minutes of the first half remaining. Tapped short for Stewart, and again Jennings' positioning was superb. The free kick tapped short, Stewart hit it right-footed towards the top corner, and Jennings just pushed it away and dealt with the bouncing ball again. Pensive looks on the Arsenal bench from Don Howe on the left, and Terry Neal in the centre. Sunderland. Difficult for Hollins and easier for Stewart. McDermott, Power very tight to him. Ricks, Hollins, and plenty of players in the box, but as Hollins crosses, the half-time whistle sounds, and Arsenal frankly no closer to solving their goal-scoring problems in that first half. But Mead, one of the new players, had perhaps the best opportunity, that bullet header well saved by Corrigan. And the other new player, White, has had an outstanding game in defence, though frankly has been under very little pressure from the Manchester City attack. Half-time score, Arsenal 0, Manchester City 0. Arsenal, in common with most clubs, rely very heavily on their lottery sales to boost the cash flow. And I'm sure with a lady as attractive as that, there'll be a lot of people wanting to buy. So Arsenal start this second half desperate for goals. They've scored only 5 in the league so far, and even Crewe, the bottom club in the Football League, have more than that. There's Hartford for Manchester City. Power on his left, they found Reeves. And a miss kick, finding Power. Caton. Sansom's header away. Ranson. O'Neill. Good run by Stewart. Spotted by White. Nicholas climbing high. Stewart with a lovely layoff for Hutchison. And Power is offside. Sunderland with a header. McDermott. That's a good-looking cross. And Corrigan just plucks it out of the air with ease. McDermott with the cross from the right. And Corrigan made it look so easy. Stewart. And the first time ball by Asa Hartford was hit far too strongly. And in this win, which is at City's back in the second half, it never had a hope. White. He's a bit unlucky then, really. There's Sansom. Almost running into trouble, Kenny Sansom. And Stewart has done well. O'Leary's got a lot of pace. And so has this man, Mead. And he's in behind Bond. Has he got the coolness? He was so unlucky. O'Leary set it up with that clearance from the back. Mead got in behind Kevin Bond and managed to get in his shot as well. It was a good effort, but wide of the target. Hollins. That was Caton. And White has dealt capably with those things, but Stewart taking advantage of that header, and the shot just 3 or 4 yards off target. Good first-time effort by Dennis Stewart. Terry Neal couldn't be too happy with the way things are going, although there has been some promise from his new players, White and Mead. Hartford. This is Reid. He certainly made a lot of ground, but Sansom did well. Mead. Nicholas. And McDermott. And the crowd giving Arsenal all the vocal encouragement they could wish for. Hollins. Sunderland. Good turn. And that was a fine save by Corrigan. Hollins playing the ball first time into the box. Sunderland's control was superb then as he turned and got in that shot. Corrigan just pushed it wide for the corner. So at long last, something for the Arsenal fans to cheer. That effort by Sunderland. And here he is again. Oh, he was dispossessed by Hutchison and then brought him down. Stewart, this is White. Hollins. Hartford. Now McDermott for Arsenal. Mead. Bond again, so quick across to cover. There's Hollins. Now Nicholas. Oh, it just wasn't played right this time for Sunderland. Hollins. Header away by Ranson, but it breaks for McDermott. 3 Arsenal men still in the box. Talbot didn't reach him. And Hutchison profiting from Talbot's miss. McDermott doing well with the cross, but over everyone's heads, including Talbot. It's Reeves. Well, the indecision on the part of 3 players then really is symptomatic of the way this game has been going. Sunderland for Arsenal. Talbot. 20 minutes for the deadlock to be broken. It's a good ball too for McDermott. He's made life difficult for him. Hartford's clearance. Talbot back. Ricks forward. Here's Mead. And Raphael Mead marks his league debut with a goal. And how badly Arsenal needed it. The ball crossed from the right by Talbot. Mead profiting from the space around him, and the shot was good enough to go into the corner and beat Corrigan's dive. So Arsenal's goal famine has ended at last. Only the 6th goal they've scored in the First Division this season. And the debutant, Raphael Meade, was the man to get it. Just 18 years of age. Had a very good effort, well saved by Corrigan in the first half, and will be delighted with that. But City almost equalising within seconds at the other end, with Reeves with the header on the near post, well saved by Jennings. Now the match, and the crowd has come to life. Hutchison. Here's Meade. And look at that pace. Well, if that one had gone in, Meade, I think, would have earned his place for the next half a dozen games. A good run, but from that range he never had a hope of the shot. Here's Ricks. Oh, what a good ball from Sunderland to McDermott. Meade is in the penalty area. McDermott decides to go it alone. A glorious ball though from Sunderland, out to the right. And McDermott cut in field. Corrigan went down well to save the shot. Good header by Nicholas to Sunderland. Ricks. That was an interesting challenge. The referee waves play on. Hartford. And again. Still Hartford. Ranson. Bond. Power. Although it reaches Stewart and Hartford. Well, it was a good cross from the right. Bond involved in the action. The ball chipped back, and the shot, although it wasn't on target, I'm sure that Jennings might have had it covered anyway, but City's best effort of this second half. Now Stewart. O'Neill. Hutchison, 4 men in the box here for City. It was a good header by Nicholas, an important one too, but the danger not gone. Oh, a fine shot by Hartford, and Jennings again superb. Applied pressure then by City, an acrobatic effort by Hartford, and Jennings again, who's been inactive for so long in this second half, responding well when he was needed. Imploring referee Robinson to blow the final whistle with this slender Arsenal lead. And that was a foul by Meade on Bond. Caton's kick. Right away. Talbot. No, he was too slow. Here's Hutchison. Caton, into time, added on for stoppages. Reeves, power, blocked by Sansom. Reeves again. Ranson, and that will be a corner off Ricks. And City know that time is against them. Howard desperate to take this corner quickly. A good flick, and that was a fine piece of goalkeeping again by Pat Jennings. As the corner came in, it was flicked on towards the near post, but Jennings positioning again, immaculate. And there's the final whistle. Terry Neal just leaves his seat. The crowd applaud, and Arsenal win. And they've got a new name to talk about in the pubs and clubs around Highbury tonight. Raphael Meade, who scored a goal on his league debut, who looked promising. So too did the other newcomer, Chris White. Arsenal have got 3 points under their belt, but still their problems a long, long way from being solved. The final score then at Highbury, as Talbot puts an arm of congratulation around the goal scorer. Arsenal 1, Manchester City 0.
So, 2 18-year-old young men play a major part in providing temporary relief for Arsenal. But whatever success they enjoy in the future, it's going to take a year or two at least for them to satisfy the supporters' appetite for success, which is a point Don Howe faces without shirking.
It's no It's just going into the market to buy players, to keep people quiet, and then all of a sudden people are going to say, what do you buy him for? He's no good.
Do you think this is a bit of a watershed in your career here at Highbury? Do you feel that the frustration of the situation is getting on top of you?
No, not at all. No, you know, it's the old story of experience. You go through these phases in football. You know you can't be on top all the time. And it's good for the soul to struggle. It brings you down to earth. You know, it makes you work harder.
Are you going to adopt a new approach? I know that's a word that you don't like, but a lot of people have been saying that Arsenal haven't been entertaining enough. Do you feel the need, now that results aren't going well, that you've got to try and please those fans more?
Well, personally, I think the fans want us to win. Whatever we talk about entertaining football, and it's absolutely important now because of the recession, it's in the gates. Yes, we've got to entertain, but they want success first. They want a winning side. At the same time, we're not we put the best players we've got in this club, and we don't restrict players. They can go out and entertain if that's what everybody thinks they've got to do. It's all about trying to get the blend between success and entertainment. If we can get the both going, then everybody's on we've got a fantastic team. It's very difficult. Perhaps Tottenham at the moment are perhaps the nearest between one and the other.
Do you think, Don, there's an easy solution to Arsenal's problems?
No, there's no easy solutions. The game's hard now, you know. I saw Malcolm Allison interview in Bob Wilson's Football Focus, and he was talking about the problems of English football and how hard it is to be a manager. And having worked with Terry Neal and seeing what Terry's going through to sort things out within the club, to sort players' contracts out, and then to go out and try and buy new players for fantastic valuations. You know, that people like the shareholders just don't understand those things. You know, it's very unjust criticism what they did this week.
Just before we leave that game, an angry reaction by Manchester City manager John Bond to an article in this morning's Daily Express in which he's supposed to have strongly criticised Arsenal for their failure to sign new players. Bond's concern is understandable because only 2 days ago he and Brian Clough were asked by the FA Disciplinary Committee to tone down their comments, particularly when talking about fellow managers and other clubs.
Well, I was very perturbed and very unhappy today, and I apologise to the directors of the Arsenal Football Club today because of the article which was in the Daily Express. It was scandalous. It was nothing at all to do with me. I didn't say that or anything, and the headlines were absolutely scandalous. I apologise to my chairman. I apologise to the Arsenal people. I've consulted the solicitor about the thing. The fellow who wrote it really is completely and utterly out of order. That was not what I said. I didn't make any comment such as that. And that is me just being exposed now by the media, and that's a bit unfortunate. But I suppose I brought it on myself in many ways, and I'll have to just try and sort it out and maybe go into my shell a little bit and sort of keep quiet.
Well, we're not here to defend John Bond, but a good example there of the sort of off-the-field pressures managers face these days. Swansea's John Toshak tonight has the kind of pressure any manager would welcome. Top of the First Division and the first Welsh club to hold that elite position in more than 50 years. Cardiff City were the last way back in 1924. Swansea came from behind to win 2-1 at Stoke with goals by their two former Everton men, Gary Stanley, who'd come on as substitute, and Bob Latchford. But not before manager Toshak had roasted his players when they were one down to a Peter Griffiths goal at half-time. The Swansea manager told his men, unless you pull yourselves together, you might as well come and sit with me in the dugout in the second half. It obviously worked, and there's Swansea at the top, a point clear of Tottenham, who moved into second place with a fine 2-0 win at Sunderland. This morning's leaders, Ipswich, dropped to third after their 2-1 defeat at Everton, and Nottingham Forest move up a couple of places to fourth following their 2-1 victory over Coventry. West Ham lost the First Division's last unbeaten record, going down 3-2 at Aston Villa. A change of heart by referee Norman Glover cost West Ham their proud record of not being beaten in 28 league games since Boxing Day last year. West Ham were only a goal behind when referee Glover awarded them a penalty for hands, but then changed the decision on the advice of a linesman. So West Ham are now joined on 17 points by Manchester United, who drew at home with Birmingham. Two players scored twice in the First Division. Southampton's Kevin Keegan in the 3-1 win over Notts County, and Ian Wallace as Forest won at home against his former club, Coventry. Keegan's now scored 11 this season, and that's the scoring form England need in next month's World Cup tie against Hungary. Wallace took his total to 9, but tonight it's reported that Forest manager Brian Clough is looking for even more strike power, with an interest in Norwegian Pal Jakobsen, rated at £400,000 by his club Vålerenga. Another man who scored against his old club today was Jimmy Case of Brighton, who came back from 3-1 down to draw 3-3 with Liverpool. Jimmy clearly remains a Liverpool fan, and he'll travel with a party of Anfield supporters to Holland next week to cheer his old mates in their European Cup tie against AZ Alkmaar. One of them, Kenny Dalglish, scored Liverpool's first goal today, and remarkably that was his first in the league for 11 months. Meanwhile, manager Bob Paisley goes to Holland tomorrow to see Alkmaar in action against Feyenoord in Rotterdam. The best scoring feat today came in the second division, where Steve White hit 4 of Luton's 6 goals against Grimsby. Luther Blissett got the 2 goals, which saw Watford win at Cambridge and keep the pressure on Luton at the top of the table. Both clubs have 22 points, 3 ahead of Oldham, who won 2-1 at Rotherham and are now the league's only unbeaten club. They have a match in hand as well. Sheffield Wednesday, also on 19 points, dropped to 4th following their 3-0 defeat at Charlton, where Paul Walsh got a couple of the goals. As in Division 1, there are new leaders tonight in Divisions 3 and 4. Swindon won 4-1 at Bristol Rovers to go ahead of Chesterfield in Division 3 on goal difference. Chesterfield lost 2-1 at home to Southend, with Danny Greaves, son of the famous Jimmy, scoring the first and laying on the second for Terry Gray. In the 4th division, Bradford City go 3 points clear following their 2-0 win at Northampton. Roy McFarlane's club currently have the best record in the league, 8 straight wins. Both Blackpool and Bournemouth lost their unbeaten records, and both clubs had a player sent off. One 4th division game tonight, Torquay 1, Tranmere 2. World Cup news, and in Group 5, Yugoslavia and Italy drew 1-1 in Belgrade to virtually ensure their places in Spain next summer. Star of the game apparently was Italy's veteran keeper, Dino Zoff, who was equalling Fichetti's record 94 caps for his country. Finally, pools, and check your coupons carefully because there's a good payout in prospect with only 9 score draws today. Telegram claims for 24 points, and the numbers are 3, 6, 16, 23, 39, 40, 42, 45 and 52. There were 4 no-score draws, numbers 11, 30, 35 and 53.
Thank you, Bob. Well, that's it for tonight, except to remind you about Sports Night on Wednesday next, when you can see one of the night's European matches beginning at 10:05. And those of you who've bought the Match of the Day annual will perhaps have read of my contribution, which referred to the blessings of the emerging talents of black players on the Football League. And if you needed confirmation, it was doubly provided today by goal scorers Terry Connor of Leeds and on his debut by young Raphael Mead of Arsenal. Good night to you.
Hartford's clearance. Talbot back. Ricks forward. Here's Mead.
Connor.